3 reasons why your knees are in a terrible state and how to overcome them. Gentlemen, if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name's Paul Green. It's great to have you here. I'm a former British paratrooper and Special Forces Support Group operator, and I have been fortunate enough to be in an elite performance bubble for just over a decade, and I've seen a lot of the adverse effects of the demands on the body. And yeah, I've worked in the gym and I've learned how to counteract those extreme demands that are placed on paratroopers and Special Forces Support Group operators. So I've got a very unique perspective on all these matters. If you appreciate them, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, I post regularly on this. I love it, doing all these educational lectures, and if that's a bit of you, then stick around. Nowadays, I'm fully online. My online coaching business is called the Longevity Program, which is designed for men over the age of 40 that take part in extreme sports. Free runners, rock climbers, mountain bikers, skiers, skydivers, martial artists, and the likes. So the plan for today is what is pain and soreness. We're going to talk about avoidance of pain, lack of knowledge on how the joint works, and avoidance of full range of motion strength training. Okay. My definition, what is pain or soreness, right? If you are specifically training and you are sore the next day or you are sore the day after that, then I would class that as soreness. If your joints are in pain, then I would say it's this. It's just simply highlighting a weaker area. The demands in which you place on your body is causing your body to go, whoa, big lad. You might need to calm yourself down a little bit or address this weak link. That's my definition. However, let's see, cancel that. Let's see what Grok has to say on the matter. Pain, definition. Pain is an unpleasant sensory or emotional experience associated with or resembling the associated with, what a fucking word salad, actual or potential-ish tissue damage. I'm going to stop it there. You've got acute and chronic. Acute, sharp and severe. Chronic lasts longer than the expected period of healing. Soreness refers to a dull ache or a tender feeling in the muscles or other areas. Make sense? You've got delayed onset muscle soreness from training sessions, 12 to 72 hours after a training session, which is the muscle tears and the inflammation that comes with that. And then you've got acute muscle soreness, which is immediately after exercise. So there is a little bit of a difference between pain and soreness. However, there is a little bit of a crossover as well. Does that make sense? Back into this then. So with that then, right, if there is a crossover, when do you rest? When do you actually act upon this information, this sensory information? When do you feel joint pain and think, I should probably rest? Well, it is a lot less than you might think. And I'm going to go into why in the next few slides. So, reason number 1 is an avoidance of pain. An example of this is your knees hurt and you struggle bending your knees to full range of motion. So you simply would completely avoid that range of motion which alleviates that pain. You may find your own body weight in like a split squat stance picking something off the floor to cause you a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 10 pain. So you avoid it altogether. The solution is figuring out where the pain is specifically, and I'll talk about you can direct your own analysis with literally one of the next slides I've got on this. Very simple. So you need to find a start point which kind of doesn't cause you pain. So if you cannot do body weight, that's no reason to completely avoid it. It just means that currently bending over in a body weight split squat type of position and picking something off the floor causes you that much pain that could be one of your goals, to do that pain free. So that could be a goal for 8 weeks, 12 weeks down the line. You need to go sub body weight. So for example, you would do the same movement and you would train yourself consciously and strategically through that same range of motion, where when you would use your arm on a pole for balance and support to pull yourself up, because you currently do not have the strength to get yourself out of a deeper range of motion. Does that make sense? So you would simply, if you can't do it body weight, there is about 10 options that you can do to build yourself up to body weight. But what I see a lot of is people that cannot do it body weight, so they never do it at all. For example, a lunge, a body weight squat. They cannot do what they may think as a simple exercise, and for them, it's not a simple exercise, it's an advanced exercise. They need to build up to that level. So a little bit of a mindset shift and a little bit of this, strategically and consciously applying stress to these areas that are in pain. And what I mean by strategically, I mean logging your workouts or logging your progress over a fairly long period of time. And consciously, right? What I mean by consciously is having the time in your day to train these limitations or these areas of concern. When you are training, when you are strength training, you are in full control of all the variables. You are in control of how many repetitions you do on each side. You are in control of how fast you do the movement. And you're in control of how intense you train on each working set. You are in control of all the variables. You are conscious. However, when you're walking down the street and let's say there's ice on the path and you slip, or when you're doing martial arts and you've got an opponent, or when you're on the crag rock climbing, you are not in control of all the variables. As much as you like to think you are, especially some of you that are very, very experienced in these disciplines, strength training, whatever part of the scale you are sitting on currently, provides you with a very unique, a very beautiful time period to be present with your own body. And you can be in control of all the variables. So the risk goes, especially when you're working with injured areas. Hopefully you understand what I mean. Let's move on to the next one. Reason number 2, poor knowledge. And specifically poor knowledge on how them areas of concern, the joints specifically, actually work. Now, if you search on Google how the joint works, you'll have a diagram and you'll have loads of different symbols and muscles and all this crap and joints and bones. It's not that complicated. Just think about these 3 things. How the joint actually works. The knee, specifically, moves in 2 ways. It extends and it flexes. It extends when you straighten it, and it flexes when your heel comes toward your arse. Ligaments, their job is to restrict any unnecessary movement that happens at the joint. So you're going to have a ligament that stops hyperextension. You're going to have a ligament that stops your knee going forward when it's flexed. You're going to have a ligament on the inside of your knee which stops it going inwards. And you're going to have a ligament on the outside of your knee which stops it going out. So ligaments restrict movement. They keep your joint solid and stiff. And the tendons are attached to muscles. So if you cover all these bases in your strength training, you will get these areas stronger. And if these areas become stronger, an immediate byproduct of that strength gain means a reduction in pain. If you've gained 50% strength in your knees, and let's say doing a bodyweight squat caused you knee pain, you are literally going to probably be bodyweight squatting without pain, do you know what I mean, or with minor pain, by just addressing these 3 areas. So how do you improve strength in these? Simply, move the joint with resistance through all of its ranges of motion. So for the knee, you extend the knee with resistance, leg extension machine in the gym, quad machine, and then you'll do leg curls. However, there's other ways of doing it. You can do squats, you can do heels elevated squats. Other ways you can put your body into different types of stress to target different parts of the quadricep muscle. That's me getting complicated. I'm going to keep this extremely simple. Ligaments. If the ligaments restrict movement, that's their job, then how can you apply stress to them and be conscious and be strategic? You can simply put horizontal force through these areas, but you have to find a sensible starting point. For example, side planks. A side plank would put a little bit of horizontal force through the outside of your knee, your LCL, lateral collateral ligament. That may be a starting point for some people. And then a Copenhagen plank, which is the other way around, puts horizontal force through the other side of the knee, your MCL. And anyway, I'm not going to go too complicated with that. I'm not going to tell you if and how. I'm just giving you the concepts to then take away into your own stuff. So your tendons are attached to the muscles. So how do you train tendons? Train the muscles. And try and train the muscles in such a specific manner that it's very close to the tendons. Now, the research suggests that isometric training and eccentric training is exceptionally good for tendons. A little bonus point as well, right? Protein powder helps with muscle recovery. Collagen powder helps with ligament and tendon recovery, repair and regeneration. Reason number 3, avoidance of full range of motion. Now this is similar to avoidance of pain, however, it's a little bit different. If your joint cannot bend, it cannot achieve full range of motion, then that is your priority goal. Your priority goal is to get to a position in which you can freely move that joint fully. How you do that is by just giving yourself assistance. Using your hands to pull the joint into full range of motion, and then applying an isometric contraction for a period of time, and then fully extending. That would be your start point. And then you progress it onto focusing on the eccentric portion of the repetition. And then you progress that onto the concentric. And then at that point there, after the isometrics, you're probably pain-free. But then, once you are pain-free, and I've had this problem with loads of people in the past, once people are pain-free, they go back to rock climbing, they go back to mountain biking, they go back to skydiving. There needs to be a period of strength training post that pain reduction, because you need to earn the right to work at high intensities. The amount of people on the mats in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I've given an exercise, given like a concept to, given a few rules, set them on their way, got them pain-free. They have then became pain-free in maybe a week or two, like golfer's tennis elbow. They've returned to full intensity sparring, and I'm like, mate, your joint is, just because it's pain-free doesn't mean it's weak. Sorry, it doesn't mean it's strong. It's still weak. The reason you got the injury in the first place is because there was weakness in the system. You haven't addressed the weakness with strength, you have just become pain-free. So just because you're pain-free doesn't mean you are strong. Get strong as well afterwards. Gentlemen, just to summarise it up then, I've talked about what is pain and soreness, the similarities and the crossovers between the two. Avoidance of pain, lack of knowledge on how the joint works, and this is the same across the board. The shoulder works in a few different ways. They have ligaments that restrict movement. It has tendons that are attached to the muscles. You train the muscles, you train the tendons. You train the ligaments by applying force through the joints in certain directions. Avoidance of full range of motion strength training was the conclusion of this video. There's 3 reasons why your knees are absolutely fucked. And my concluding thoughts: get strong. Because in the grand scheme of things, you are either getting stronger or you are just waiting to become compost. Choose wisely, you glorious meatheads.